France is one of Europe's most important countries. It shares borders with Germany, Belgium, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and France. Andorra, Italy, Monaco. France is thought to be the gateway to Europe because it has many large international airports, two of which are in Paris, ferry terminals, and a rail service. France is the most popular place for tourists to visit in the world. France is now known all over the world for its food and wine. It's safe to say that French people like to cook and eat. A typical French meal has 3 to 4 courses, including a cheese course that comes before dessert. All meals come with freshly baked bread and wine. What are some facts about France that are interesting? Whether you live in France or are just visiting, knowing a little bit about it will help you get to know it better. So get ready, because we're going to tell you some interesting things about France. But before we start our countdown, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon as well. 1. The camera phone has been invented in France. In 1997, a business run by Philippe Kahn in Paris, France, made the first camera phone. First, he took a picture of his new baby daughter, Sophie, and sent it to his friends and family. 2. France is the EU's largest nation and it is known as Le Hexagon. France is the biggest country in the European Union. It covers a total area of 551,695 kilometers square. About 31% of France is forest, making it the 4th largest forest country in the EU after Sweden, Finland, and Spain. The country is often called Le Hexagon because it has 6 sides. 3. The Louvre in Paris is the most well-known art museum in the world. In 2019, a record 10.2 million people went to the Paris Louvre Museum. To get more people to go, it was suggested that a Beyoncé and Jay-Z video be shot there. Most importantly, you have to book your ticket ahead of time. Stop wasting time and buy your Louvre ticket. 4. It is the most well-known place for tourists in the world. The latest tourist numbers say that France is the place to be. This might be a good time to learn French. In 2018, a record 89.3 million tourists came to the country, making it the most visited place in the world. The country's capital, Paris, is the 3rd largest city in the world after Bangkok and London. Packing time. 5. For around 300 years, French was England's official language. It's hard to believe that French was the official language of England. But after William the Conquistador led the Norman invasion and took over England, he introduced Anglo-Norman French to the country in 1066. Even though some of the powerful people in the kingdom didn't speak English, it was spoken by everyone else. But in 1362, the English Pleading Act was passed by Parliament. This made English the official language of the government. Since Norman French was used to pleading, they knew what was said in court, but the average English person had no idea what was said. 6. Louis XIX was King of France for only 20 minutes. This was the shortest reign in history. You did read that correctly. After his father Charles X stepped down, the French king took his rightful place on the French throne just 20 minutes after the royal fame in July 1830. After that short time, Louis Antoine also gave up his throne in favor of his nephew, the Duke of Bordeaux. He is the shortest king who has ever ruled. He shares the record with Crown Prince Luís Felipe, who became King of Portugal after his father was killed. 20 minutes later, he died from a wound as well. 7. In 1915, the French army was the first to use camouflage, World War I. Here is an interesting fact about France. In fact, the word camouflage comes from a French verb that means to set the stage. In 1915, the French army was the first to make a unit just for camouflage. Camouflage was a style of painting that was used on guns and cars. The British Army did the same thing the next year, when Lieutenant Colonel Francis Wyatt was in charge. 8. In France, you can marry a dead man. Under French law, you can get married after you die in certain situations. This is a very surprising fact. This is true as long as you can show that the person wanted to marry you when he was alive. You also need permission from the French president. In 2017, a jihadist authorization was given to a partner of a gay police force who had been shot by a jihadist on the Champs-Élysées in Paris. This was the last case that was accepted. 9. France was the first country in the world to make it illegal to throw away food in grocery stores. Now, this is something France can be proud of. In February 2016, France was the first country in the world to make it illegal for supermarkets to throw away or burn food that wasn't sold. Shops must now give extra food to food banks and charities. If good food close to its best before date is found in a supermarket over 4,305 meters too, the store could be fined up to $75,000 or put in jail for 2 years. Also, it is against the law for all French supermarkets to throw away food to stop dumping divers from drilling in trash cans. Nice one, France. 10. The French Lumière screened a film for the first time in 1895. The Lumière brothers were well known for their film photography system and the short movies they made between 1895 and 1905. Auguste Marie Louis Nicolas and Louis Jean were their names. On December 28, 1895, at the Grand Café in Paris, the world's first public showing of a movie took place. The staff leaving the Lumière factory, the Light Factory's production was their first movie as a director. The 5-second black and white video showed workers leaving the factory in Lumière, which completely blurred the viewer's vision. In 1895, it is said that Louis Lumière said that film is a future-free invention. Oh, he didn't know anything. 11. The French invented tin cans, hairdryer, and balloon. One of the interesting things about France is that we can thank the French for many of the useful things we know and love today. In 1809, the French inventor Nicolas Appert came up with the idea of putting food in sealed glass jars and boiling water to keep it fresh. Pierre Durand came up with the tin can much later. Louis Braille, who was blinded as a child, also made Braille. In the same year, 1816, a doctor named René Laennec came up with the stethoscope, and a doctor named Alexander Ferdinand Godefroy patented the first hairdryer. Joseph and Étienne Montgolfier were the first people to use a hot air balloon. In 1783, they put on the first public show of a balloon that didn't have a name. 12. A French lady named Jean-Louise Calment was the oldest person ever alive. A person has lived as long as 122 years and 164 days, which is the oldest age we know for sure. Jean-Louise Calment was born in France on February 21, 1875, and she died on August 4, 1997. In 2018, the average life expectancy for women in France was 85.3 years and for men it was 79.4 years. France also has the 14th highest average life expectancy for both men and women, at 83 years. 13. In 2013, France legalized marriage of the same sex. When President François Hollande signed the bill into law on May 18, 2013, France became the 9th country in Europe and the 14th largest country in the world to allow same-sex marriage. Even though at the time, polls showed that about half of the French liked it, not everyone liked it. In reality, thousands of people have taken to the streets to protest and defend so-called family values. 14. It's unlucky to turn a baguette upside down. Some theories have been made about where this French superstition came from, but it is most likely from the Middle Ages. A planned execution in the area meant that the lawyer didn't have time to stop by the bakery before going to work. So, when the baker turned down the bread, he saved his loaf. So, putting a baguette on its head was thought to bring death or sickness, and this superstition is still around today. Take a behind-the-scenes tour of a Paris bakery to learn more about cooking. 15. The croissant was invented in Austria. The croissant may think of France as its spiritual home, but it was first made in Austria. The croissant's ancestor, the Kipferl, was born in the coffee shops of Vienna in the 13th century. It was the first crescent-shaped morning treat. The Kipferl was made with thick dough that wasn't as flaky as the croissant, which came from France after the Kipferl. These are the top 15 interesting facts about France. Tell us about your favorite one in the comments section below and also subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos. Press the bell icon for all the latest updates. Thanks for watching.